Welcome back to my channel, everyone, and if this is your first time, hit the subscribe button and the bell below for future videos that I make. I've got a lot of good videos coming your way, so definitely check it out. So I wanted to make a quick video on 5 steps to avoid algae. So step 1 is using RODI water. So I've had people say, hey, I've used tap water, I've used well water, I don't have that issue. Well, you actually do have that issue. That's great that you have that kind of water and all, but it's gonna grow algae. There's heavy metals, there's heavy minerals, and there's a lot that you're mixing inside the actual aquarium with different kinds of bacteria than your freshwater aquarium would have. Or let's say you have a well system and it starts to rust. You're adding that and poisoning your fish, you're poisoning your aquarium, and all it's going to do is promote algae growth. And then y'all guys know, and if you don't, it's really simple. Algae, as it grows and it gets on your coral, it gets all over your rock, it starts consuming the oxygen in your water column. And once it gets to that coral, it's basically going to suffocate that coral, and then it's going to die. It's that simple. So using the right kind of water is very, very easy. For a couple dollars, extra that you're spending, you're saving another hour, 2 hours of cleaning that aquarium. So, is it really worth it? In my opinion, I think so. If I was a fish, I'd want you to use that kind of water. So definitely, guys, try to get some RODI water, or even, go to your local store and get a good, clean, reverse osmosis water in 1 gallon jugs even. It's a lot better than actually using your city water or your well water or what have you. So definitely, guys, think about it. Just go on and get you some good water and the right kind of water for your top offs, and mix in your own salt or whatever you got going on, okay? Step 2 is water changes properly. And what I mean by properly is siphoning your sand bed out every single week when you do your water changes. So as you feed your fish, the food's getting in the rock, the food's getting underneath that rock into the sand, your fish is moving sand around, which I'm sure y'all guys can kind of see mine is a little bit cloudy from my clown there under that rock. He likes making his little caves and stuff, and what he's doing is he's actually covering up some food. He's hiding it or getting rid of it, or getting rid of his waste out of his little sleeping area. So you want to siphon your sand bed, you want to clean that sand bed, because your tank already cycled, you got that diatom algae already all over your sand at one point, and all you're doing, from feeding the fish, the cycling with the diatom algae, it's just breaking down, it's turning into phosphates, and phosphates is like the seed of algae for it to grow, and your sand bed is like the sand in a garden, so definitely, guys, siphon that bed weekly when you do your water changes, and I promise you, you're gonna have great looking sand, and you're not gonna have all that green hair algae or anything growing up out of it onto your rocks and killing, stuff that's cost a lot of money. So definitely do it, guys. Step 3, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, and I just really think that people haven't explained it well enough, is overfeeding. And you're probably like, oh yeah, I've heard this 100 times. Well, maybe you haven't heard it this way. So they say to feed your fish 5 to 7 minutes, right? Feed them enough to eat within that 5 to 7 minutes. So what you take it as, let me get enough food, put it in there so they have 5 to 7 minutes worth of food floating around. Well, that's not the case. What you want to do is spend 5 to 7 minutes, and even longer, up to 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, giving small portions of food. And what that's going to do is allow the fish to chase that food down, eat it up and consume it, and as it gets into the rocks, they will find it quick if you give them a moment. But if you have so much food floating around, they don't know what to go for first. They want to pick a certain size, they want to go what's closer, then another fish wants to go what's further because that fish is closer to him. And all that food is just going into your overflows and your sock filters, your sponges, whatever you have in your aquarium that's filtering that. And it's also getting stuck in the rocks, and mixed up in your sand bed as well. So small portions, guys, a little bit at a time, and spread it out over a couple minutes, okay? And it's going to save you a lot of phosphates from that food breaking down and turning into, once again, a seed for algae. The next step is adding too many fish at one time. So I'm gonna actually make another video on why I don't have coral in my reef tank yet, and it has something to do with this issue right now. So as you can tell, I have two clowns. I have a 6-line wrasse, I have a blood shrimp, and a cleaner shrimp. Well, I do plan on pitting maybe 1 to 2 more at max. Some guys might think that I'm overstocking it or whatnot, but I do weekly water changes, so I'm not concerned with some kind of overstocking and ammonia spikes or anything crazy. Plus, I'm adding in my fish slowly. So what I mean by that is you don't want to grab more than 2 fish and put it in your aquarium and then go the next day and grab another fish and put it in your aquarium. What you're doing is you're not allowing the bacteria to grow in your aquarium to catch up to the fish you had that day that you had put in the day prior. So you want to give the bacteria at least a week to 2 weeks to grow and reproduce. Well, let's say for instance, if I had those 2 clowns in there first, which I did, the bacteria is meant to grow enough to take care of those specific 2 fish and waste that is in their aquarium. If I go into the store, I'm like, I'm gonna get the rest of the fish now so I can hurry up and get coral. Well, no, because if I had those 3 fish, that bacteria is only there helping those 2 fish out with their waste issues and their ammonia issues. It's not automatically infinite. So then you just shock your system with 3 new fish that's producing ammonia and waste and more feeding, because you have more fish at that point. So the bacteria is going to actually go into a shock. Your tank might actually even go into a mini cycle all over again. So my suggestion is do what I do, add 1 or 2 fish and then wait, or add, for instance, I had 1 clown to start and then I waited a week. Then I added the next clown and the cleaner shrimp, versus getting the next clown and the 6-line wrasse and the cleaner shrimp, throw it in there and just let it go. Well, no, I didn't do that. I went ahead and mixed it up because that shrimp isn't producing ammonia like the fish are. So I grabbed the second clown, the cleaner shrimp, and then I waited again another 2 weeks or a week and a half or so before I put in that 6-line wrasse, okay? And that gave my aquarium enough time to build up on the bacteria that it needed and catch up to the ammonia that was in the aquarium already, so that when I added my next fish, it didn't actually put the aquarium into an ammonia shock, and it didn't restart a new cycle or a mini cycle. And when I first had my first reef aquarium, I had 3 cycles, and I always wondered why, and that was pretty much it. I just kept throwing livestock into the actual aquarium because I'm like, man, I want this fish now, I got the money for it, let's go ahead and do it. And I screwed myself in the long run. I had algae everywhere, I couldn't keep coral, everything was dying. So please do yourself a favor and take your time when adding your fish or even coral. Alright guys? So the last and final step, and I know you guys, if you've watched my other video, you've heard this already, is lighting and direct sunlight. So try to put your aquarium in a place that does not have direct sunlight. And you might tell me, well, hey, I don't have a place that is not in direct sunlight. Well, it's pretty simple. Just, wherever that sunlight's coming in, put a black sheet or some tent or anything to cover that light from directly hitting it at all times, okay? Over lighting, I spoke about, once again, 8 to 10 hours and no more. Figure out that schedule that is good for you, where you're gonna see it when you come home. And sure, you're not gonna see it when you first wake up, but who really just wakes up, gets ready for work, and stands in front of their reef tank and says, man, this is great. And then next minute you're 20 minutes late for work. you know, that's not reality. Most of the time you see that it's on and you walk out the door, or you see that it's on, you feed your fish and you walk out the door real quick. So that's not even worth it. You just keep it to that 8 to 10 hour schedule, because it's like I said before, you plant a seed in the ground into that sand, or your sand bed in this case, and it needs light to grow. So algae is photosynthetic, so that extra light that you're giving it is allowing it to bloom and grow out of your sand onto your rocks and onto your coral. And all it does is take that oxygen out of your water column. It's not worth the headache to have it on longer than that time. When you walk into your aquarium store and you're like, man, I wish my tank was that beautiful. Well, it could be, but if you look at the hours on their door or their window, wherever they may have it, they're usually open 8 to 10 hours. And that's actually how long their lighting schedule is on for. When you walk into that aquarium store, sometimes if you're early or off of work that day and you go early, you might see them siphoning that sand bed out. And the reason why is because they don't want that algae. So if you follow these 5 steps, these are literally the 5 steps that your aquarium store does on a weekly basis, guys. And if you want that aquarium to look as beautiful as one at your local fish store, then do these 5 steps, and I promise you, you will not regret it, guys, okay? So apart from that, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as I said before, if this is your first time, hit that subscribe and notification bell now. Give me a thumbs up, and also if you learned something new, you know, subscribing is not something you're gonna pay for. It's free. It's not a monthly charge or nothing crazy, so don't think that. It just lets me know that you guys want to see more video and more content from me, and that I'm doing a good job. Because you know, this is a community. This hobby is like a big family. You know, when you go into that, you know, local store of yours, everyone's there for the same reason, and that's what YouTube videos are about. These reef aquariums are about, is being a family, getting together, troubleshooting issues, and helping each other out to have a successful, thriving aquarium. Okay guys, so hit that subscribe bell and button now. Thank you again for watching, and happy reefing.